All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Tiger Talks. We're Parent and Family Services, and we are here to support and inform you and engage you as supporters of your students. We want to be partners with you in your students' journey. And so we have these Tiger Talks just to make sure that we're addressing every question that you may have, ways to support your student, things, especially today's topic, which is going to be financial aid and scholarships and any updates. And so get those questions ready. We've had some families to submit questions ahead of time. And if you're listening to this recording later, then feel free to reach out to our office at parents@memphis.edu if you have any questions as you listen, and we will make sure that we get those answers to you and connect you with Emily, our special guest today. So without further ado, I'll introduce myself. I'm Heather Hampton, Assistant Director for Parent and Family Services here at the University of Memphis, and I'll toss the microphone over to Brittany.
Hi, I'm Brittany Lester for Parent and Family Services. I'm the Parent, Family, and Student Communications Coordinator. Emily.
And I'm Emily Stovall. I'm the coordinator of financial aid and scholarship outreach. Thank you both for having me today.
Yeah, we're so excited for all the great information that you're going to give us and our families who are listening in. So before we get started with the questions, I do want to remind you that if you have a question, if you're listening live and joining our session, feel free to put that question in the chat, and we're going to be monitoring the chat and answering any questions that come across live. But again, you can email us if you're listening later. So our first question, that's not really a question about financial aid and scholarships, but we always like to give our special guests just just so you can learn a little bit more about them on a personal level. So, Emily, I've got a question for you. So, what would you say? We've got spring break coming up here next week, actually. And so what would you say would be your favorite memory of spring break, or what do you like to do if you're ever not working on spring break?
That's a good question. So spring and summer are my favorite seasons. So spring
Mm,
break is kind of the first time of the year that I can really get outside and enjoy some pretty weather. So I
hmm
am quick to go on a walk with my dog or go for a run at Shelby Farms. Really anything just to go out and enjoy the longer days. We get some extra
hmm
sunlight around that time. Throw something on the grill with my husband. Just really enjoy the weather outside.
Love that.
Yeah, that sounds like a good plan right there, because the weather is starting to be very nice, and then we had a ice and snowstorm just a few short weeks ago. We were all snowed in and hunkered down, so it's nice to get out and enjoy that sunshine. I think today's high is 76 or 77, which is amazing.
Hmm.
You couldn't
Yeah,
wait for the weather.
I know. I'm like, oh yes, it feels so good out here. And then you also get a break. You don't have to run your heat
Oh,
or
I know
even
that's
your AC at times. So
that's been a bonus as an adult.
yeah, yeah, love that part. So yeah, we'll go ahead and get started with our questions here. I'll start with the first question, and Brittany, Brittany, and I will kind of go back and forth with the questions that we've received and that we have, and then we'll watch the chat if anybody comes across the chat. Okay.
All
So
right.
the first question that we have is basically a general one. Just what types of financial aid are available to students at the U of M?
Sure. That's a great question. And there are really so many resources. When I talk to students, I like to present this question and information in terms of free money, so scholarships and grants, earned money, which is federal work study, and then borrowed money, which are the student loans. And all of those are available to students at the U of M. And really and truly, our students use a combination of all of those to cover their expenses for college versus one large resource.
Right, very nice. I love hearing you say free money. I'm sure our families
Mhm.
out there will as well. So, for our next one, how do I apply if I'm a student for federal and state aid, and what are the deadlines that I need to know?
So for both federal and state aid, students should complete the FAFSA as their first step for the year that they intend to enroll at the U of M. So often students are completing a FAFSA for the upcoming year versus this current year. That can sometimes be confusing. One important date is October 1st. That is when the FAFSA historically opens. And I really encourage students to make it a goal to complete their FAFSA before the winter holidays. So we really don't want them waiting second semester, because second semester, no matter what grade year you are in school, is just busy. So really make it a priority to fill out the FAFSA before the winter holidays. And do make note that April 1st, 2026 specifically, is the priority FAFSA filing deadline for the Tennessee awards. So that doesn't mean that students are going to be excluded from state aid like the TSAA, which is the Tennessee Student Assistance Award. It doesn't mean they're going to be excluded if they fill out the FAFSA after April 1st, but they might miss out on first come, first serve aid such as TSAA.
Yeah, I would think that that money is limited, and so yeah, it's very good to families, if you're listening, notate those dates that Emily gave you, so that you can stay on track and make sure your student gets the maximum amount that they could receive based on the timing. So you mentioned something about you categorized the three types of awards or types of money. You've got free money, you've got earned money, and you've got borrowed money. So this next question is specifically for the borrowed money, those loans. There's a difference in the types of loans, and so this family wants to know, what is that difference? You've got subsidized floating around, unsubsidized, maybe a plus loan they mentioned. What are the different types of loans, and what do they mean?
Mhm. So student loans can sometimes be intimidating, but they are a viable resource if students need a little bit of extra money in which their scholarships and grants don't cover, right? So you mentioned the three different types. A subsidized loan is a loan that has interest, or sorry, it does not have interest while the student is in school, which is different from an unsubsidized loan, which does accrue interest while the student is in school. So both of these loans, subsidized loan and unsubsidized loan, are in the student's name, and the student is responsible for paying it back after graduation. Whereas a Parent Plus loan is in the parent's name, it's based on the parent's financial history, and it's up to the parent to pay that back.
Okay. So a little bit to cover all areas. Oh, I'm sorry.
I did want to add another big difference between the subsidized loan and unsubsidized loan is need. So a student does have to be eligible for the subsidized loan, and we'll determine that eligibility by way of their FAFSA, whereas an unsubsidized loan is not based on need.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you for explaining that. So as far as the free, earned, and borrowed money, how can students check the status of their financial aid awards to accept it or deny it?
Sure. So once we generate a financial aid package, it lives in a student's My Memphis portal, and that's also the location where they will accept scholarships. They can accept or decline loan amounts. And one more thing to add about student loans is that you don't have to accept the full amount of loan money that you've been offered. A lot of the time, students don't need the full $1,000 they've been offered for a semester. They might just need $300 or $400, and they can specify the exact amount that they need, which makes it easier and less money to pay back after graduation. But all of this information lives in a student's My Memphis portal.
That's good to know that they can select the amount, because I was under the impression that whatever you had, okay, yeah, I accept. So yeah, saving money is always good, because it'll come back. The payment time will come. So so we mentioned the borrowed money, and we kind of talked a little bit about that, and some of the free money, but you also mentioned the earned money. So a family student has received a federal work study award, and so they're asking, how does their student access those dollars? What does that entail?
So if a student is eligible for federal work study, we will put the award on their financial aid package. It'll show up in their financial aid award letter and in their My Memphis portal. At that time, it acts more as a placeholder for the earning potential. So a lot of our students will see $5,000 for the full academic year, which means they can earn up to $5,000 in that year. Keyword being earned. So these students are going to find a job on campus. They will apply, interview, get hired, and let their hiring manager know that they have federal work study funds. So to the student, they really won't know a difference because they still get paid like any other job really in the world. They give us a bank account, we pay them biweekly, and they get to use that money for ideally college related funds, but it could be anything they need to cover. I do like to highlight that even though this award is presented with their other scholarships and financial aid resources, it's not money paid up front and it's not money paid to a student's bill. They do have to earn it, and it does get deposited into a bank account versus directly to their bill, say as a scholarship would.
That's very important to know too, because sometimes families are looking at their students' award in total and they're just seeing those dollar amounts and just adding them all together and saying, oh, this is how much. But please, families, pay attention to, if you do have, your student does have that work study, that is not, you might as well just subtract that and put that to the side, because that's not a direct billed or direct paid amount. They would have to earn it, as Emily said. So thank you for clarifying that. That's a very important step, to make sure we don't have any confused and upset families thinking that, they may not have a balance when they might actually have it if they included that amount in there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's change gears a second to my favorite thing, which is traveling. I've heard this question quite a few times from students who wants to, study abroad, education abroad now for a semester or a year. So can they use their federal aid towards the cost of the trip?
They can. Students do need to have a current FAFSA on file. So they need to have whatever semester they intend to travel, they need to have the appropriate aid year FAFSA filed, and they need to plan to enroll in at least 6 credit hours, which is usually 2 classes. But aid such as the Pell Grant, student loans, and Tennessee Hope can all go towards covering the study abroad expenses. And we like to tell students that it'll never be cheaper than being a college student to travel abroad. So this is a great opportunity and a great time to do it on the cheap side.
Yes. That's so true. That's one thing I regret, was not doing study abroad, because now I'm
Me
on
too.
my own out here. So do take advantage, please.
Right. And then you couple that with other study abroad or education abroad scholarships that they have. So that's really great to know that they can use those dollars toward that. Let's say a family has done what Emily said. They heard her say October 1st is when that FAFSA is going to be released, and do it as quickly as possible before winter break. But then something happens where unfortunately their situation changes. Maybe a parent lost a job, or, something else like that. So how would a family go about letting the university know that their situation has changed financially, and how does that involve updating or modifying the aid award that they originally had?
So this is a fairly common situation that we
Okay.
see because we know that, the FAFSA uses the income year, the tax year from 2 years prior to when a
Oh,
student
wow.
actually enrolls. So for 2026, we're looking at the tax year 2024. So a lot
Okay.
can change in that time
Yeah,
period.
definitely.
And students and families should reach out to the financial aid office versus updating anything in their FAFSA. Now, our preferred way is by a Tiger Help ticket, because it links all the students' information, their U number, their full name, their contact information to their help ticket. So it's a very quick and easy process. But students and families can also just visit our office hours Monday through Friday between 8, and we're happy to process with them. Now, from the initial contact, we need to gather some additional information about the student's current financial situation and possibly some supporting documentation. But really, these are handled on a case-by-case basis. So any changes really depend on the specific situation that's going on. But please reach out.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes, please utilize those resources.
Mhm.
So we talked about free money, those scholarships. So let's talk about how do they actually work and what are the steps to apply?
Sure. So we've got two main categories of scholarships at the U of M. The first are the merit-based scholarships, which are awarded to incoming freshmen based on the information included in their application. And our goal is to award these scholarships within 3 days of a student being admitted to the university. So they're going to know pretty quickly. Now, the merit-based scholarships are looking at a combination of GPA and test score for the majority of our offerings, but we also have one scholarship called the Trustee Award that is just looking at a student's GPA. So that's kind of one category. The second are our private and donor-funded scholarships, which students can apply for through Tiger Scholarship Manager. Now, this is an online portal that is open every single year for all classifications from middle of November through February 1st. So it's actually closed now, but students should be on the lookout this fall for the upcoming academic year. Now, scholarships at the U of M do renew automatically depending on the scholarship. So I want you to double check that information closely when you're applying to, especially the Tiger Scholarship Manager scholarships. Most of them renew automatically, but some of them are just one-time awards. So just double check carefully.
Yeah, I was gonna say our parent fund a scholarship for we give out 12 of those every year through the Tiger Scholarship Manager. That's how students apply. If you're a member of the Parent and Family Association, then your student is eligible to apply for that scholarship. But ours is one time. So yeah, like you said, make sure you read the fine print of those scholarships so that you know all the details. Also, maybe some requirements and that they're meeting those. So that's good. It's good to know. So you mentioned scholarships, merit-based scholarships for freshmen. Are there scholarships for transfer students or maybe students who are juniors or even grad students? Like, are there other opportunities available and how do they access those?
Absolutely. So in this Tiger Scholarship Manager portal, is kind of where all of those scholarships live for our transfer students, upperclassmen, law students, grad students. They're all in that portal. And students do need to be admitted to the school before they can access the portal in full. Before they're admitted, they can read through the requirements and kind of scope out which scholarships they might want to apply for. But until they've officially been admitted, they can't apply for those. But for instance, we have 3 transfer scholarships.
Okay.
One is for students coming from another 4-year college or university, and then we have 2 that are specific to our students coming from a community college, and they're titled accordingly, university transfer and community college / PTK. Like I said, we have scholarships specific to upperclassmen in all classifications, grad students, law students, and there will be a brief description so students know which ones that they'll be eligible for. For instance, if it is a scholarship pertaining to nursing students, they'll be able to see in the description that it is either offered by the Lowenberg School of Nursing or specifically for nursing students and things like that.
Okay.
And we encourage students to check back every year as there are new and updated scholarships. So just because they check it out their freshman year and think, oh, I don't really see that many, check out your sophomore year. Just by changing classification, you're opening up yourself to a whole new set of scholarships.
That's right.
I love that. That's something I didn't know in undergrad. So I'm glad you're saying that there's a lot of free money out there that people don't know about.
Yes. Don't leave it on the table.
Exactly. So this next question is Kind of another favorite of mine because it reminds me of like when I'm in my favorite clothing stores, I can stack rewards and coupons. So can university scholarships be stacked as well?
Yes and no. So
Okay.
those merit-based scholarships that we talked about cannot be stacked with other merit-based scholarships. So if a student is looking at our first-time freshman scholarships, they'll see the provost, the dean, the trustee, CCH presidential. We're going to offer a student the single highest scholarship we can based on their academic information. And that'll be their merit-based scholarship. However, scholarships in Tiger Scholarship Manager can be stacked together, and they can also be stacked with that merit-based scholarship.
Wonderful. That's very nice to know.
Yeah, actually, absolutely. Because I used to get that call, that question a lot from families who were just trying to, see what the end goal was as far as funding everything, and so they were thrilled to know that they could stack some of those donor awards with the merit based, and then some of the music scholarships that could be stacked with merit based as well. So you kind of answered this question, but I'll ask it anyway. Does my student scholarship automatically renew each year, or will they need to reapply? And I know you talked about them auto renewing, and we mentioned a little bit about, you know, looking at some of the requirements and making sure. But I guess I could add a little bit to the question as far as what typically are renewal requirements, if there are any. Are they
Sure.
GPA based, or you have to do some type of service or anything like that?
Sure. So our merit-based scholarships do renew automatically as long as the student remains in good academic standing or with a 2.0 GPA, and they complete any required service hours. Now, not every merit-based scholarship has service hours, but if they
Mhm.
do, you'll be notified in your My Memphis portal as soon as you're awarded that scholarship. So any incoming freshmen should have that notification, and any current students should also have that notification. And the service hours vary depending on your scholarship. Now, TSM scholarships are also renewed automatically. Many of them, like I said, are renewable, but every once in a while you'll see some that are just one-time awards, or they are specified for junior and seniors, freshmen, sophomore, something like that. So you just
Mhm.
want to double check when you're applying that you understand the renewal process, if there is one, and any additional requirements. Maybe they need an updated resume each year.
Mhm.
Um, some of them require a thank you letter sent to the donor.
Okay.
That's the initial renewal requirement. So just make sure students and families that y'all are checking.
Please make sure, guys. So we already talked about, that the university has a physical office as far as people coming in to ask questions about the tuition or aid. Um, but would you like to add anything else to, because some of our families were asking, where can we go help with questions about our student aid? Where can we go online or versus on campus? So would you like to add anything else to that?
Both of our offices take walk-ins. Students don't need appointments, so they can stop by Wilder Tower 201 for any scholarship-related questions, and they can stop by Wilder Tower 103 for any financial aid specific questions. We're open Monday through Friday, 8 to 4:30, and a big part of my job is meeting one-on-one with students to talk about cost of attendance and any kind of aid they've been awarded to understand their total out-of-pocket cost. So I love meeting with students. So I love to share that it's a resource available to them. And most importantly, they don't need an appointment, which is sometimes a misconception.
Right, right. Just come in and get assistance.
Exactly.
Mhm.
So,
Especially having
so I
that
guess it's
one-on-one, it's great.
right. And I think it's the coming in part. So
Yes.
encourage your shy. Maybe if you're local, you can come in with them.
Mhm.
And but if they're here and they have that opportunity to walk in, then sometimes some students are shy and they just need a little pushing to know when to ask for help and to just do it and know that we're ready for them.
Mhm.
You're ready. Your staff is ready to receive them and answer any questions that they have.
A lot of students will stop by after a campus tour as well. You know, they're
Okay.
already in the building. They've
Yeah,
gotten a lot of information about the campus, the admissions process. So that's also a great time just to hop on over to either of our offices.
that's good. That's good. So this next family has a student who's graduating in May, and they have a certain amount of student loans, and they want to know when does that repayment start and what type of repayment options are available for their student, because we know repayment is inevitable.
That's right.
So just knowing when so that you can, yay, I graduated, celebrate, and then now it's time to adult and those loans will come back. So when can they expect to start repayment and how can they repay?
So once a student graduates, they are granted a 6-month grace period or celebration period. And at the end of that 6 months, a student will receive notification from their loan servicer, which is not the University of Memphis. Some popular names are Nelnet, Sally Mae. It'll be an email or phone call from that loan servicer. So for a student graduating in May, they can expect that communication at some point before November, because November is when their first payment will be due. Now, the loan servicer will have specific details on how to set up their account to make payments electronically and offer any kind of repayment plans. I know that some options that exist are income driven. You can also choose a set amount each month to pay it off, but it's going to be specific to that loan servicer.
Mm.
Thank you for explaining that.
Mhm.
Let's see. So our next question, what our parents wanted to ask is, I want to help my student with a budget and manage their financial aid effectively. Do you offer workshops for that?
So we actually offer a free online course. It's
Oh,
1 to 2 hours, and it provides students with specific information about student loans and just the entire process surrounding student loans, creating a budget, using a credit card, and opening a savings account, plus a lot more, but those are the main call outs. And students can access this course through the financial aid webpage. It's on the main financial aid homepage. And we also have one for a non-traditional student as well.
mm. I
That.
love that. I did
Mhm.
not know that you all had that. That's
Me
so
neither.
good. So it's like a self-paced type of wow.
That's right.
Wow. Bank
No
account? That's
excuses.
amazing. Exactly.
Yeah, no excuses. I mean, your students should leave here with knowing how to create a budget with all the resources that are there. And whether they stick to the budget, that's another story right there. But at least we know that they have those resources. And I'm so thankful that you all, have that type of resource for students and families, because some families may not even, understand how to do those things and how to navigate with their students. So that's amazing. So our last question, just generally, what tips could you share or leave with our families just to help them maximize financial aid, scholarship opportunities, and even budget and things that they need to think about, particularly for our families who may be brand new or incoming, and then those that are, their student is kind of heading toward the end of their journey, at least the undergraduate journey. So, what tips and advice can you leave with them?
So for our new and incoming students, I would say pay attention to dates and deadlines. Like we mentioned earlier in our conversation, we don't want to leave money on the table because we didn't know about a deadline. So I want students to be checking their email because we will communicate with them quite a bit through email. And I also want them to make sure that when they submit their FAFSA, that they have not heard from FSA, like the student gov people, that there's something wrong with their FAFSA. So once you submit this official documentation, I want you to keep checking to make sure that you're not being asked for any additional information. And outside scholarships. So outside scholarships are a great resource for students. One, because they're not always based on academic information. So for the student who might be kind of in between our academic requirements for a scholarship, they might find an outside scholarship that better fits their student profile. Outside scholarships also have more of a rolling calendar, so you'll continue to find opportunities throughout the spring semester and into the summer where a lot of institutional scholarships have already closed or the awarding process has been completed. I would say try and stay organized. Whether it's making lists of potential scholarships and which ones need essays, dates and deadlines. Maybe make a spreadsheet of that information and just all the different checklist items like registering for new student orientation, filling out the housing application, taking advantage of the free housing application month in March. We are waiving it for the month of March, just things like that. Making sure that you are in tune with your school of choices, dates of deadlines, any kind of freebies, and that you're checking your email regularly. We don't want you to miss any important information and miss out on some really great opportunities.
That's true. Those are some great pieces of advice. Staying organized, I think, is one of the big ones that stood out to me, because that helps you not to miss those dates and deadlines and opportunities. And I just want to thank you so much for sharing all that with us, for answering our questions. You do such an amazing job educating our incoming families, our current families on financial aid and scholarships and opportunities. And I know I can feel the care and support that you give to people. And hopefully our families will take advantage of that and get a chance to meet and work one-on-one with you if they need to. But we really appreciate you coming today and sharing with us. And I think families are going to be in a better position by attending this Tiger Talk and hearing all of the wonderful words of wisdom that you have for them. So thank you so much.
Well, thank
Well,
you.
thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. So I did want to put the contact information there. Now, I apologize, I didn't realize that the scholarship office is in a different space. But if they come to 103 Wilder Tower, you all can definitely direct them upstairs to the, what is it, is it 20?
201.
201.
And if they just want to ask
Also in
for Emily,
Wilder
that
Tower.
works.
All right, and you can also reach them by phone. Also, Emily mentioned the help ticket uh, is a great way to connect your students' internal information so that you can receive assistance even faster. So make sure that you're going to the financial aid website to fill out a help ticket. And encourage your students to do that anytime they need help or have questions, or they can walk in, as she mentioned. So we've got a few announcements here. Our next Tiger Talk is April 7th. So in a little over a month, we're going to connect with Dr. who's Executive Director of the Student Counseling and Student Health Center. She's going to talk about homesickness because it's a real thing that students are experiencing that can impact their well-being, also impact them academically and socially. And so we want to address that topic of homesickness and see how families can support their students through that, and some tips and some things to look out for as you're talking with your students, some signs that you may see. So join us Tuesday, April 7th at 1:00 p.m. Central for that Tiger Talk. And then also, we want to encourage you, if you haven't already, to join the Parent and Family Association. This is your gateway to a deeper connection and understanding of your students' experience. And there's some great perks to joining. You'll have a rolling newsletter bi-weekly with information and updates from the university. You get some cool swag when you join, and also when your student graduates, free parking for you when you come to visit your student on campus. A lot of good perks, but we want to make sure that we're allowing you the opportunity to build that connection with your students' experience. And this is your next step in doing that. So consider joining. You can go to our website and click Get Involved to complete that application. Well, that's all the announcements I have. Thank you for attending this Tiger Talk. We thank you for supporting your student and being engaged, because your student's going to have better success, and we want to have a successful outcome for every single student, and parents and family members are a big key part of making that happen. So we thank you for attending. You can contact us at parents@memphis.edu, or you can call or text us at 901-678-2115. We will see you. You have a blessed week, and we will see you on the next Tiger Talk. Have a great day.